It's October, and that means it's almost time to indulge in that pagan tradition of dressing up in spooky clothes, letting strangers give sweets to our kids, and trying to avoid chavs from egging us when we're walking the dog. So what better time to release the latest season of a horror-based TV show? Yes, AMC's The Walking Dead returns with Season 8 on the 22nd of October. And while the show still has legions of loyal fans, some, including myself, have been very vocal in criticising the last season of The Walking Dead. Which could just be a deliberate move by the creators to give us the experience of what it's like to live in The Walking Dead, where every day you say, should I carry on or should I just end it all now? Season 7 built up to a climax that never happened and left us with more questions than we had answers, such as how did Master Blaster get from beyond Thunderdome to the world of Walking Dead? Why have the scavengers lost the ability to talk like a normal person when the outbreak only occurred like 2 years ago? And why is Rick so obsessed with a marine invertebrate? Carl! But despite claiming I will never watch the show again at the end of last season, I'm willing to give it another shot. But not without some caveats. Here's 5 things that we want to see in Walking Dead Season 8. At number 5, more consistency. Now The Walking Dead's never been the most consistent of shows, with Season 1 being an absolute barnstormer and Season 2 being a bit of a drag. Now unfortunately the TV show has seemed to have taken this trend into each season, with a big bombastic opening episode followed by a load of boring stuff, and then with an ending episode with a cliffhanger ready for next series. Unfortunately this leaves us with an inconsistent series where all the good stuff's at the start and then we just get disappointed at the end. Now I understand the creators' desire to open up a new series with a bang, but surely it would make more sense to spread that budget across the whole series with a little bit of action in every episode, rather than blowing your load in the first episode like a teenager who's seen boobs for the first time. A more consistent approach would leave viewers more engaged, and there wouldn't be people like me moaning, when is the show gonna finally kick into gear? And number 4, focus on the more interesting characters. Now Walking Dead has got a terrible habit of being over sentimental, and it has a big cast of characters, some of which overstay their welcome. And I guess sometimes the creators decide to themselves, we've never really put a lot of focus on one character, so let's build a whole episode around them. Now who remembers the episode where Tara went on a little jaunt into the village full of women? Now that was an interesting episode, wasn't it? No, it was boring as shit, and everybody thought so, even the die-hard loyal fans. Now there was nothing wrong with the village full of women, it was an interesting concept, but the bottom line was, Tara's just not an interesting character. She's never been an interesting character, and putting the focus on her was just the wrong move. When we've got characters such as Jesus, who's some kind of messiah ninja, with magician-like abilities, it would make much more sense to focus an episode around Jesus and maybe fill in a little bit of his backstory. Or even just add a bit of depth to other characters such as Negan, who has no depth whatsoever. Which brings me to my next point. At number 3, flesh out the Negan character. Now Negan is a cool villain, I'll give you that. I mean, he entered into the series with an absolute bang, popping Glenn over the head, popping his eyeball out of his head, and making a lot of people even decide not to watch the show anymore. But the problem with Negan as a character is, he's just too evil. As Robert Downey Jr. once said in Tropic Thunder,
never go full retard.
And you never go too evil either. What made the Governor a much more interesting character is that he had layers. He had a relationship with Andrea, he showed a sensitive side, and we got to learn the situation with his zombie daughter that he was keeping in the back room that showed that although the character was undoubtedly an evil character, that he had some sympathetic traits which allowed us as the viewer to empathise with. But with Negan, there's absolutely nothing to sympathise with. He's an absolute douchebag that goes around killing and bullying and oppressing people all for his own gain. Giving us a flashback to how Negan found himself in that situation would add a lot more depth to the character and make him a much more interesting villain for Rick to take down. And number 2, the death of Negan. Now even though I just said we need to flesh out Negan's character a bit more, that doesn't mean that we don't want to see the character go away. By the end of the next series, Negan would have run his course, and we need to see a resolution in the war between Rick and Negan. And somebody has got to go. Now we don't want it to be Rick, not yet, because, you know, let's be honest, Rick's the coolest character in the show. I don't care what you say, Daryl's cool, but Rick's the man. But the interesting thing about Negan's story is that it could be any one of the characters that carry out the act of murdering him. Whether it be Dwight, Dwight's wife, Rick, even Eugene. But more than likely it's going to be Maggie, because I think we can all agree that it would be nice to see her get revenge for what Negan did to Glenn. And then number 1, a new direction or the beginning of the end. Now, The Walking Dead's been a fun show. It's not a great show, it's not up there with the likes of The Wire or Breaking Bad, but it's been a very fun ride. But it's now time for a change. Now, fair enough, if they want to keep the show going and milk this cash cow, I understand that, but the show needs a new formula. Simply finding a new safe haven and then losing that safe haven while trying to protect it against people that are trying to raid them has been done and done and done. Whether it be the governor and his minions or whether it be Negan, it's a reoccurring theme that has happened nearly every single series now, and it's time for a change. Whether we get to the situation where they find a cure, whether they get to a situation where they find the cause, we need the show to start going in a new direction and adding some new elements. And if they want to keep the show going, they need to add something different. And if they want to wrap it up, cool, let's just get the beginning of the end and then we'll see this show out together and we can all cry when everybody dies. I'm Jason from Gutless Gaming. Please subscribe, comment on the video, follow us on Twitter, and I'll see you real soon.